welcome. I see that there are 4 of you tuned in right now. Thank you for joining me. If you joined early and your phone rolling, feel free to continue to do so through this intro. You might also use this time to get yourself a little more set up. I will not be playing any music, but you are certainly welcome to have your own relaxing soundtrack in your background. And then I have gathered some props, and if you haven't already, you might also want to gather some props. It's nice to have some soft, flexible props, blankets, towels, throw blankets, scarves, and then it's nice to have some soft, thicker props like pillows off a couch, for example, or bed pillows will work as well. And then it's nice to have some stiffer props. I've got yoga blocks and a foam roller, but another option instead of yoga blocks can also be just a thick book with a little padding from a soft prop, or a Tupperware. Tupperware can also work pretty well. So, the benefit of doing this on YouTube Live is that we can all have a shared experience together without really being able to watch and compare and judge. So you can be having any experience you need, setting yourself however feels best for you, and know that I cannot assess and judge you, and hopefully you won't have to feel that self-consciousness either. We will begin with a short movement flow followed by a seated meditation. Tonight we're going to do 3 yin postures and then a final relaxation. During this time, there is no right position or correct alignment because we won't be adding any force. There is no progression goal. For each yin posture, I will begin by demonstrating without any props, just the floor, and then I will add several different propping options. This is your time to experiment and to try different ways that it's going to work for you. Once I'm done demonstrating, I will not stay in the position. I will come to a seated position to watch the time, and you will stay in the posture for 2 to 3 minutes before I cue you out. While you're in your yin posture, the position you land in should feel safe to release all tension and all effort, that your muscles can fully be passive and relaxed, and that you will experience quiet, subtle sensations. This is a practice of patience, stillness, and subtlety. Let's begin. For our movement flow, we're going to start lying down. On our backs, feet flat on the floor. I'm going to start with my hands palms down by my hips. I'm going to exhale here and inhale, raise the hips and arms off the ground, getting the hips as high and the arms as far back as you can, as is comfortable. And then lowering to the floor on an exhale. Inhale, rising. Exhale, lowering. Moving in time with your own breath and movement. Finding both the range of motion and the rate of movement and breath that feels best for you. Taking another round of breath or 2. And when you're ready, just allowing yourself a moment of transition, perhaps letting the hips rock side to side, the knees, or hugging the knees to the chest. picking your feet up off the floor, hands gently on your knees, fingers facing your toes, right? In a gentle position, just gently holding the tops of your knees. And inhale here. And exhale, extend the legs up and arms back, reaching toes to up, reaching arms back, abs down. And then returning to our starting position. Inhaling, relaxed and neutral. Exhaling into the reach, abs driving down, fingers back, toes up. Inhale to relax. Continuing at your own breath pace. Taking another round or two. And when you're ready, you might want to wiggle those toes up towards the ceiling. Ankle circles. Or hug the toes towards you. And then gently rolling over, finding your way to a comfortable seated position. For our seated meditation, you can sit in any posture that's comfortable for you, that you can be upright in. So for you, that might be a chair. If there's a chair nearby, feel free to sit in the chair as long as your spine can be tall. You can sit in a cross-legged position on the floor. In many cases, sitting like this, the hips might feel too tight, the knees might feel awkward, you might feel like you need to sit back. And if that's the case, sitting up on something is a great solution. So finding, could be the pillows, could be the blocks, something to sit up a little bit on, might give your hips more room. Other options are to sit with the legs folded back or the legs out in front. And in all cases, sitting up higher on something generally can feel a little less confined and a little more comfortable. But again, also propping wherever you feel like there might be hard points on the ground, pressure points, or places where you feel like you might feel unstable. So go ahead and find your special spot, your position that's going to feel comfortable. Readjust those props. And as you settle in to your seated meditation posture, palms can be down, up, or clasped in your lap. Eyes closed or soft, steady gaze on the floor in front of you. And we will take an internal inventory. Bring your attention to your breath. Notice its rhythm, its texture and sensation. Its movement. In your internal inventory, take a scan of how you have arrived mentally, and emotionally, energetically. In your internal inventory, observe the sensations in your body, in your muscles, in your joints, in your posture. Allow yourself to observe all of these things inside of you without judgment or analysis. When you find yourself either distracted, either by things outside of your space, on my end of the camera, outside of your room, inside of your room, or within yourself, allow yourself to come back to your breath. Let your mind anchor upon and find ease in returning to your breath. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Feel how your breath moves throughout your body. And then lower your chin towards your chest. Opening your eyes. And taking any movement you might be calling for, might be some side bends or some twists. Just a change in posture. Before we begin our yin postures for today, I have a little analogy, a little demonstration. It is normal in this process to have a lot of resistance and difficulty in staying still for 2 to 3 minutes of each posture, and the urge to wonder why. Why is this taking so long? So this is an imperfect analogy, but imagine that this plastic bag is your muscles and fascia. And our muscles and fascia, when we have a lot of demand on them from psychological or physical stress, training, or intensity, our body responds to that intensity with tension, right? And with that tension, it generally binds and it maintains and wants to hold on to that tension that's required to be strong and stiff with that stress. And with Yin Yoga, we take the time to realign and reset up. And find a particular area that feels particularly strained. And then with just very gentle, even pressure, we get to create a different stretch. And very slowly create change that is different than what it was accustomed to. So for our first yin posture, I'll demonstrate without any props to begin with. I'm going to lie on the ground, on your back, and we'll all go the same way. You're going to take from your back, both legs straight. You're going to walk the legs to the right, and they might stay parallel, or you might cross left over right. And then taking the left arm, you're going to sweep it from your low down by your hip to up, and you're going to stop wherever you feel a line of tension from the outer leg of your left side, left hip, left abdomen, possibly left ribs, into the left shoulder armpit area. So a long line of fascial tension running along the left side of your body. You might even turn your head to the right. And we want to feel fully supported by the floor. So you've gone too far if the hips start rolling away from the floor or the arm sort of peels too high off the ground. You might want to end up propping gently underneath an elbow if that feels more comfortable. Or you might feel you need some support where there is more pressure on the ground underneath a heel or your head. It might feel good to give a thicker prop underneath a knee. Looking for a long line of fascial tension that is subtle and gentle enough that you can stay in that position. And release any fidgeting and changes. Allow yourself to settle. As you've settled, give yourself permission to stop chasing any particular sensation. Now simply observing and allowing for any sensations that present themselves. Distraction and the urge to fidget are normal. Come back to your breath. And get lost in the subtleties of the internal inventory of shifting sensation. Begin to lengthen and deepen your breath. Notice how the deepening, long breath changes the sensation in your body. And then gently coming out of the position, uncrossing ankles, letting your arm come down, allowing your head to come back to a neutral position. And then taking any movement or stillness that your body calls for. Might feel really good to simply continue to lie in a neutral position and notice the effects. Or you might need an active counter pose, perhaps stretching the legs up high, hugging the knees in close, letting the knees sway side to side, twisting the torso. Perhaps doing a bridge, lifting the hips high. And then when you're ready, we're going to set up the other side. Legs walk to the left, leaving them parallel or ankles crossed. Right arm slides up to the right. You might even adjust the shoulders or the head. And then finding the props underneath head, arm, legs, ankles, heels, wherever that feels like it's going to feel supported and comfortable, safe, so that you might have a fully passive stretch. remembering that we have no need at this time to have one side match the other. It will be different. It will need a different setup. Let that be okay. And as you settle into stillness, accepting wherever you have landed, let your breath be the only movement. Let your breath be enough. Allowing yourself to feel supported by the floor. Letting your whole body be soft. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Noticing the sensations that come with an active breath. And then gently coming out of the posture, legs, head, arms, and exploring any stillness or movement that will feel good for you. Twisting, bridging, curling up into a ball, stretching out long. Our next yin posture is going to be variations on a lunge. I'm going to leave this, I'm going to start without any real props, but I'm just going to leave the blanket down as a padding for my knee. So in this lunge, we'll leave the back knee on the ground, but you have several options for where you want to put the emphasis on the line of stretch. So you can have a position where you are closer to a splits-like action with the front leg really extended or kicked out, right? We can be in a more 90-degree position, right, and leaned over. Or with the front leg, we can let the knee pass over the toe, and this becomes a deep squat position where we get more emphasis on the sole of the foot and the back of the ankle. In whatever position you choose for the front leg, which may put different emphasis on the back of the front leg from sole of the foot, back of ankle, calf area, glute area. In any case, you should also feel lines of tension in the front of the back leg, whether you choose a more upright posture or a leaned over posture. There should also be lines of tension in the front of the back leg. So options for propping. Some options are to put something quite high, and I'm just going to use this on its higher setting. But you could also use a chair or a footstool, and something high up and propped can sometimes allow for more relaxation in the pelvis and the back leg. I might also, if I choose a forward option, propping it for my arms so that I can lean forward but at a higher level than if I were to go further down. And then you can also prop with, depending on how high your pelvis is off the ground, you might prop underneath the pelvis with just blankets or pillows. And you might also find a chair or a wall that you can sort of lean sideways against a little bit or hold onto so that you don't feel unstable side to side. So go ahead and experiment with where that's going to be for you. Fidget around, fiddle. It's an important time to allow yourself to explore and not just make assumptions and rush into a familiar posture, but allow yourself on every day to try a couple different things to find what's going to feel good that day. And now, having had a chance to explore, settle in. In this posture, there will be some muscular effort to keep yourself upright. Release everything else. If the tension isn't absolutely required, let it go. Any residual tension in the pelvis, in the thighs, but also in the jaw, forehead, neck, toes. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. You might use these breaths to savor where you have landed, where you have settled into, or you might use these breaths to begin to gently lift out. And when you're ready, those transitional postures, counter movements, you might stay in the lunge, but just shift your hips back. You might do some side-to-side bends or some twists. Or you might come into hands and knees, do some cat and cow rounding and arching of the spine, or some downward dog. And then when you're ready, setting up the other side, figuring out what variation is going to feel good today on this side. Trying different setups, trying different props, inventing your own setup and your own prop. The only thing that is essential is that it is a safe, comfortable posture to stay in, that it doesn't require a lot of muscular tension to resist the sensations, that if it's too intense, your body will respond with tension and strength. And after that, feel free to explore. Having settled in, settling into your breath, and with each breath, noticing where else can you let go just a little bit more. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. using your breath to go a little bit deeper, savor a little longer, or using your breath to begin to release the posture, to explore movement, bending to the side, twisting. Downward dogs, child's pose. And now for our last Yin posture. We're going to be seated, and we're going to take there's several options for essentially a version of a cross-legged position. And one option is to go one leg over the other, and in this case I'm just going to go right leg over left to begin with. So just crossing at or near the ankles. And in any variation of a cross position, we will, once we're there, release tension in the upper body. This might feel like a really good place to feel both a rounding of the spine, to find long lines of fascial tension and release from the forehead, down the back of the neck, along the spine, in the low back, and into the outer hips. You might choose something a little snugger and go ankle over knee. And again, or you might choose for the ankle to go over the knee and to get knees close to stacked or in that direction. Some people can stack their knees, that's not in my body, but that would be the direction that I'd be going in. You can change whether the knees are tightly bent, heels really close to your body, or further out. And then after this, after all those options, you can also play with how you prop yourself. So I could prop my hips, one or both of my pillows, lifting my hips a little bit. Depending on where you have landed, you could also put something underneath one or both knees, depending on what option you've chosen and where you are positioned. And then you might also choose to support the forehead. Sometimes the full weight of your upper body coming forehead and your head hanging, and letting that head hang, can be a wonderfully deep stretch, and it might feel very welcome, but it might feel too intense, which is when you would want to prop your own forehead. So propping underneath hips, propping underneath knees, propping underneath ankles, and propping underneath the forehead in various configurations. All different options, from how you've crossed the legs to how you've propped and to fold forward. So as you go ahead and figure out where you want to be, what is going to feel safe and welcome, and then as you let go of those final fidgets, final adjustments, you might choose to let your palms be down if it feels safer and more grounded, or palms up if it feels more open. yourself to observe any shifting sensations. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Use these breaths to gently roll up and out. You might be in a hurry to uncross the legs, but if not, you might leave them crossed and simply move the upper body, swaying side to side, twisting, arching back. And then of course you might uncross the legs and switch the knees side to side, or reach the legs long. Taking any exploration of movement that calls to you, that feels good, that feels like a counter, or allows you to observe any changes. And then when you're ready, setting up your other side. So a brief review. In this case, I'm going left over right, and I might cross just at or near the ankles. Or ankle over knee. And then as you set up, if it feels really good in certain parts of your body but not in others, so for example, depending on how you set up, if you're like, oh, that is exactly where I need to find space in my hips and it feels good in my back, but it doesn't feel good for my ankle or the bottom ankle, then it's just a matter of figuring out how or where can you give your body that extra support so that it can feel safe and comfortable everywhere. Right? And it might take a little experimenting, it might take some new discovery, and you might not even figure it out entirely today. Maybe it'll be next week. But allow yourself to explore, to problem solve, and follow where your body is needing that support and where your body is finding that tension. So once you have settled in, releasing tension not only in your hips and legs, but through your spine and arms. always coming back to your breath to help you stay present, to help you stay within your body's experience. Gently lengthening and deepening your breath. And then gently finding the movement or stillness. Giving yourself that time to transition however you need. And as you transition and take that movement, we'll also be gently getting yourself ready for our relaxation at the end. You find a comfortable position lying down on the floor. You might choose to prop underneath your knees or any pressure points underneath the heels, underneath your head. You might choose to roll a soft prop underneath the knees, your head, your neck, or you might take one of your blankets or towels and cover your body or your eyes. And as you lay here, allowing yourself to observe any changes in your body, allowing yourself to feel at ease, at peace. And allowing your mind to find ease in watching your breath. Watching your breath as a wave flowing in and out. Gently lengthen and deepen your breath. Bring your palms together and rub your palms together. And then place your palms over your eyes. And let your fingers massage your scalp or your brow. Let your fingers find any place that will feel good to massage the jawline, the temples, the sinuses. The back of your neck. And then stretch out long and big before curling tight into a ball, rolling onto your side, using your arms to help you sit up gently, finding a comfortable seated position. We'll conclude with 3 breaths together. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. One more. Thank you. It was nice to share this experience with 5 of you. You are welcome to share your experience or feedback with me. You can do so in the chat function of this live feed. You can also email me at kym@zested.net. And then you can visit our website to join our mailing list and follow us on social media, Instagram or Facebook. And then lastly, if you value this program, what we're providing here, I really appreciate any donations or sharing. And donations can be anywhere from $1 to $15. And those go to paypal.me/zested. And you can share this in whichever format works best for you. Thank you. Have a peaceful evening.